I don't normally do this when I'm on the road with company. I typically reserve like the spirituals for family and kinfolk. But you know, just with the art and with the love and the spirit that was shared before, I have to you know, like just kind of open up the room and the space with this. No, I've been changed. No, I've been changed. No, I've been changed. Angels in heaven sign my name. I said I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. Angels in heaven, angels in heaven, sign my name. Right. I certainly give much love and respect to everyone who's come out this afternoon. My heart's totally been surprised. I'm a little overwhelmed right now. It's a packed room. It's a beautiful space as well, with lots of different types of faces, young and old, and all different types of folk from different walks of life. And I do believe that's the moment, right, that we're living in, where working class folk and poor folk and brown folk and folks of all different, various different ethnicities, right, must be coming together in these types of rooms, in these types of spaces to listen, to learn, and to share and to build. So I thank Workers' World Party. I thank the Fight for 15, Brian, Jay, the sisters who spoke and also sang. And I also thank you for the space and the community here. I will say this, you know, I'm not one of those brothers or sisters, for that matter, who travel with a gimmick. I do not come here to sell DVDs or sell you false dreams and false hopes. I come here to speak truth. I come here to speak as our ancestors would speak. I come here to uplift my community, uplift my people, and all oppressed people, period. I do have a Black History talk today. I'll be talking to you about the Black freedom struggle, what that has meant, about some of the history of that struggle, and also how we are continuing to live that struggle today. So if it gets a little hot, a little heated, you just borrow a newspaper or something and fan yourself and you're right.
We've got waters back here if anybody needs one.
When we talk about the Black freedom struggle, we are not talking about a monolithic or homogeneous phenomenon. However, we also do not speak of the Black freedom struggle as some abstract, highly theoretical dissertation that requires a PhD to understand. The Black freedom struggle is a living and breathing experience. The daily struggle that we carry with us to our jobs, to our schools, and to our churches. The Black freedom struggle is the unspoken rhythm and vibration that connects and percolates throughout our communities. It connects Durham to Roanoke. It connects the Ferguson Rebellion to the Baltimore Uprising. The Black freedom struggle is a lifelong pursuit that connects all of us across borders, across state lines and religions, across denominations, class lines, skin complexions, and again, ethnicities. When we talk about the black freedom struggle, it is important to note that as African descendants, as descendants of slaves and people who were taken as captives, we have always resisted here on these lands. Our people have been resisting, fighting, organizing, pushing, clawing, scratching, and working toward black liberation since the first captive arrived here in 1619. We know that we were here before 1619, but that's a different talk. It is 2017, and we're still pushing and still clawing. That is what the current Black Lives Matter movement is all about. This current movement for black lives. It is the continuing work of resistance and freedom fighting as we look around us. And I've learned firsthand, as Brian noted, through struggle, through being in the streets, right, from Ferguson and Baltimore and Boston and Oakland and Philadelphia, that though we are fighting for one common goal, one common cause, hope, peace, there are many different ways, different strategies, different methods and perspectives to reach those goals. And I honestly think that is one of the most beautiful pieces and parts of the black freedom struggle. Just as our blackness comes in multiple different types of packages, as I look throughout the room, so does the black freedom struggle. It is packaged in many ways. In the 60s, it was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X who were leading the way. The NAACP and the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. It was the Black Panther Party and the Nation of Islam. There was the Black Arts Movement of the late 1960s and early 70s. The Harlem Renaissance movement of the 1920s and early 30s. As a prelude to the Harlem Renaissance, Brother Marcus Garvey founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, my very first organization. He founded this in 1914. Garvey's UNIA became the largest mass movement among the African American community throughout history. His Back to Africa movement not only marked the relocation of black bodies, it precipitated the mental shift of the black mind. It was Adam Clayton Powell and Stokely Carmichael who coined and popularized the phrase Black Power. And it was James Brown who made us say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. Today we have Bree Newsom. Anyone know her?
Yeah.
Right on. The freedom fighter from North Carolina and a personal friend of mine. Bree Newsom, for those who don't know, is the brilliant sister, the bold sister, who climbed the 30-foot flagpole in Columbia, South Carolina, to take down the Confederate flag with her bare hands.
Right.
Yes, round of applause. She did this. Wow, and this moment really shocked me. I'm still touched by this summer of 2015. She did this just a few weeks after 9 innocent black people were murdered by a white supremacist while they were praying in their church in Charleston, South Carolina. In addition to Bree Newsom, there are also other women like Opal Tometi, Patrice Cullors, Alicia Garza, the 3 women who founded the Black Lives Matter Network just after Trayvon Martin was murdered in Florida. These women carry the same torch as Angela Davis and Assata Shakur, the same struggle as Ella Baker and Fannie Lou Hamer once carried. Speaking of black women, and there are some awesome black sisters in the room, and I want to salute. One of my favorite teachers and mentors of all time is a sister by the name of Ida B. Wells. Anyone heard of Ida B. Wells? Right on, right on. It is very difficult. You cannot really discuss and talk about the black freedom struggle without talking about Ida B. Wells. You cannot actually talk about black resistance, black consciousness, or black liberation without mentioning her many, many contributions, her body of work. Today we call it being woke, right? Are you woke? Well, it was Ida B. Wells' journalism, activism, and investigative reporting that was responsible for waking a whole lot of people up. And not just black folk, but also white folk as well. Not only was she the co-founder of the NAACP, Ida B. Wells was part owner of her own newspaper, the Memphis Free Speech and Headlight. Ida was the daughter of slaves and the oldest child of 8 from Holly Springs, Mississippi, the deep south. By trade, she was a teacher. In spirit, she was a lion who used her courage to sound the alarm against Jim Crow, against the black codes and vicious lynchings of black women, black men, and black children. She was so fearless and so effective that the Ku Klux Klan burned her newspaper office down to the ground in Memphis, Tennessee, where she lived and worked. You're talking about a black woman who was speaking truth to power in the 1890s, who was speaking directly to the institution of white supremacy and racial discrimination, who also spoke directly to the hearts and minds of her people, who encouraged us to read, to research, to think for ourselves, who challenged us to get involved, get active, to do something to better the conditions of our people. Around the same time, there was a small, not so small, there was a budding city outside of on the outer banks of North Carolina called Wilmington. Anyone ever heard of Wilmington? A breathing and burgeoning example of what the black freedom struggle could look like if given the proper opportunity. In the city of Wilmington, just 3 decades removed from the iron shackles of chattel slavery, African Americans had established their own churches, schools, and community collectives. In Wilmington, black folks were crafts workers and tailors, furniture makers, brick masons, teachers, and architects. They were plumbers and plasterers and even owned, again, a newspaper called the Daily Record. Blacks in Wilmington owned 20 of the city's 22 barbershops and 1 of the city's 3 real estate firms. As then the largest and most prominent city in North Carolina, it also had a black majority population. At the close of the 19th century, Wilmington was one of the few cities in the U.S. where both black folk and white folk employed each other. There were elected officials, there was a thriving black working class that was co-joined and worked together with the white working class there. Progress had indeed been made. That is not to say that conditions were not still difficult, but at least families could be whole again. At least there was a sense of pride, dignity, and self-respect. However, with this general backdrop in mind, racist, white supremacists, and the most benevolent capitalists that you can imagine decided to clamp down on such progress and social unity. In 1898, armed white militia terrorized such unity and achievements. Hate mongers burned down businesses and the headquarters of the black-owned newspaper. Mobs targeted black citizens and local leaders with direct violence, gunfire, and permanent banishment. The offices of black politicians and city officials were raided and taken over. The 1898 Wilmington Race Massacre was a critical turning point in the South's history, a crucial blow to the pursuit of freedom and equality for all. Brian, if you would, let me go towel. Yeah. Once a character reserved for racist ridicule, jumping Jim Crow became the Jim Crow laws, you all. Separate but equal became a federal mandate. Federal meaning the North and also the South. Because while the Ku Klux Klan raised hell in Georgia, in North Carolina, in Alabama, in the North it was employment discrimination. It was predatory lending, police brutality, and systematic confinement to the urban ghettos. They would not lynch you in Harlem. They would not lynch you in Philadelphia or Detroit. But they would make your life so difficult that you wish you were dead.
Amen.
If we are honest with this type of history, which is real, which is not just black history, it is also American history. It is our history in this room. If we are honest with this history, of course black folk have a right to be upset and angry. Because racism is violent. White supremacy is violent. And it is black, brown, and poor people who are the recipients of this violence. It was Coretta Scott King herself who said, ghetto housing is violent. Ignoring medical need is violence. Contempt for poverty is violence. And here we are as black folk and people of color and poor folk. On one hand we have Dylan Roof and David Duke. On the other hand we have genocidal public policies that are interwoven into our U.S. laws. Yes, 3 stripes, private prisons. Those are the interwoven policies, right? All of them serving the same function, to oppress, to terrorize, to exploit, to ultimately destroy our communities. That is the history of this country. This is the history that we have to give to our children because they're not getting it in the public school system. At least I didn't get it in the public school system. They might get some part truths and watered down versions of Rosa Parks and Dr. King, but they're not getting the full story of our rich tradition of black freedom fighting, black resistance, and radical struggle. Yes. Who founded Black History Week or Month?
Carter G. Woodson.
Right on, right on. On it back there. We definitely give Brother Carter G. Woodson much love and much props and respect and admiration. Certainly because he worked his behind off for black folks to get these 28 days that he did. However, we must give our children the history, which takes more than 28 days. It takes 365 days a year to properly prepare them, to give them the foundation that they need. It starts in community forums like this. It starts in your homes, in your neighborhoods. It starts with your friends, at your churches, your family members. It starts by taking the initiative to do some research as Ida B. Wells did. I must also remind us as we're discussing the black freedom struggle, because black is just one side of it. We must unpack and speak directly to the issues and failures of the capitalist system. We cannot speak of black liberation, black struggle, black freedom, without addressing the same system of economic exploitation that worked us like free dogs for 400 years. That's why the Pilgrims brought us here on a ship called the Mayflower. It wasn't for freedom and justice, it was to work for free. We were brought here to work for free as slaves for 400 years. Capitalism on black body steroids, as I like to call them. They worked us like mules. The cotton and tobacco that we produced made slave and landowners rich. Some of those landowners created companies and corporations from that wealth. Those companies and corporations were an important part of what? The triangle trade. Those raw goods that our ancestors produced went to England and made her rich and powerful too. It is 2017. There's a different form now called the private prison system, mass incarceration, the prison industrial complex. It is doing the exact same thing, the same cycle, the same process, the same system. Capitalism fueled by racism, white supremacy, imperialism, and the continued colonization of black and brown people worldwide. As working bodies of the U.S. South, as black, brown, and poor folk in this room, members of the working class, I do believe that it's pretty apparent that we can no longer depend on capitalism to provide for our basic needs. As a matter of fact, when has capitalism really ever provided for our needs?
Never.
Never. Certainly not collectively on a mass scale. It has only exploited us, cheated us, for it is a system that serves profit rather than people. A few of us, and I always get this, there's always someone in the room who says, well, I made it, you know. But yeah, that's the system. A few of us will make it, a few of us. A few of us are doing just fine right now. That is, right now, but if Donald Trump has his way, there will be no working class, there will be no black middle class. We will be decimated, wiped out completely. Please, let's keep in mind that the private prisons are now using prison labor. The corporations are using prison labor. There's no more use and promotion and upliftment, right, of union labor. And if you're down south in North Carolina, we're a right-to-work state. You have the right to work without a union, without protection. So we definitely have to get together. This is why we need strategies and institutions that teach, promote, and encourage autonomy from the capitalist system. We must seek to serve the direct and immediate needs of our community, particularly in low-income communities. In order to truly uplift those who are marginalized, we as freedom fighters must be engaged in the work of providing basic survival needs, like the Black Panther Party, including food, clothing, shelter, and safety. Marches are great and very needed. Forums like this are also very needed and very necessary. However, it will take a different kind of mobilization to till the soil and feed our communities. I hate to say this, but the Republicans and Democrats aren't doing that. The capitalist system aren't doing that. We have to depend on ourselves. Within this capitalist structure, self-reliance among marginalized communities is a very critical form of resistance. This is nothing new, as Brother Jordan just laid out. We've been doing this work in Virginia, in North Carolina, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing this. Folk down in Jackson, Mississippi are doing this work right now. Is anyone familiar with the Malcolm X grassroots movement or Cooperation Jackson? Right on. They're doing this work right now. Coming to a close. If we go back and study our history, the true history of our leaders, this is exactly where Dr. King and Malcolm X left off before they were assassinated. Yes, they had the black righteousness and they had the black pride, but talking about capitalism was a different story. Dr. King was talking out against the Vietnam War when it was very unpopular to do so. He was even advocating toward the end of his life, he was talking about black power publicly. You do not see these videos shown to you in school, but they are on YouTube. Please check them out. See them for yourself. It's there. On the other hand, Malcolm X was traveling all over the world. He was internationalizing the black struggle, talking about capitalism and evolving into the same person who said himself, and I quote, "I for one will join with anyone. I don't care what color you are, as long as you want to challenge and change this miserable condition." Unfortunately, we are still living the same conditions today. The same conditions that Malcolm was preaching on, and speaking at in 1964 and 65 are the same conditions we're living today. Racism and Jim Crow legal practices, police murders of black people, church bombings and mass incarceration, poor housing and third-class living conditions. The murder of Tamir Rice was really no different than Emmett Till. The same poverty then is the same poverty now, and in some cases, even worse. We have work to do, sisters and brothers. A lot of work to do. Personally, I do not believe in the system. I do not want to work within it. However, if anyone chooses to work within the system, do so. We need folks within the system to rattle votes and make change. We need judges and attorneys. We need folks in social services. We need that. However, but we also must support our black youth and the radical youth who are out in the streets shutting, I can't curse you now, I won't do that, shutting it down. Shutting it down through radical resistance and direct action. We need everyone truly at the table. The youth, the elders, the women, the men, Christian folk, Muslim folk, queer folk, and trans folk, and straight folk. We need the church, and we also need the hood, which always tends to get left out of the equation, the hood. I think in the process, we also have to respect each other's roles and what we actually contribute uniquely to the struggle. We do not have time for petty beefs when we are trying to build a movement, y'all. As our great field general herself said, Assata Shakur, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and protect and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Now, if I can get you all to repeat after that. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
One more time, like you want the fascists to hear you. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other and support each other.
We must love each other and support each other.
We have nothing to lose